Shalom, all praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakha Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopeful elect Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakha Kwadash. Now, as you can see here, it's a clip of pretty much Alexander the Creep, which they call him the Great in this world, but we call him the Creep. All right, and it's a clip that I came across. I was watching some stuff on the YouTube, and it's a clip that I came across, from the movie, pretty much. And the point I was thinking about is that in this world, wicked men are exalted, basically, because Alexander, we know that he was basically the first king of the Edomites, pretty much, as in their first time that they finally got strongholds on the planet Earth. All right, and what does the scripture tell you when these Alexander got into power, man? It tells you that wickedness was increased, all right? And we're living now in the height of wickedness on the planet, man. So I wanted to play some of this here and read some scriptures, because this world is totally under wickedness, man, as it was under the authority of Alexander the Creep. But in this world, like I was saying, wickedness is exalted, but it's soon gonna come to its end, man. So I'm gonna play this here, and I'm gonna read some scriptures, because Alexander the Creep was of the nation of Edom, all right. And who's ruling today? The Edomites in these last days, all right. That's why the earth is in such wickedness. The people are in such a wicked state in this world because of these Edomites, all right. And this was one of their first main ruler.
They yell so easily. I laugh. No tyrant ever gave back so much. Before him there were tribes, and after him all was possible. There was suddenly a sense the world.
See, and that's another thing what they kind of pushed, that Alexander, basically, he was the first major ruler on the earth. Civilization began with the Greeks. That's what they say. Like it said here, Anthony Hopkins in the movie said, before him there were tribes. There's always been tribes, and there's always been kingdoms, all right? But that's the narrative that Esau likes to push, that before Alexander or the Greeks came into power, the earth was, the earth was under barbarians, basically, animals. There was no structure, which is all lies, man, all right? And I'm going to read it in the scriptures.
Be ruled by one king. Be better for all.
Since I was a child, I've been groomed to be ever the best.
One day I'll be on walls like these. Oh, my poor child.
You dream of glory, Alexander. Your mother encourages you.
Cursed by your greatness.
A king isn't born, Alexander. He's made by steel and by suffering.
It takes strong men to rule. Alexander was more. He was Prometheus, a friend to man. He changed the world.
Your companions will be shadows
He
in the underworld.
He said he changed the world. He said, yeah, he did. Because with his rulership, wickedness was implemented, man. All right? Like what's happening today. When you see all these so-called white people in rulership today, they're descendants of Alexander. They're from the same people. All right? They're from the same people. And what's happening today? All the governments of the world are evil, man. Because they're all the same lineage of people.
Majesty, very brave.
Hold on. Be brave. Brave.
When you are a name living forever in history, never will there be an Alexander like you. Alexander the Great.
What is it you fear?
Never hesitate.
Who knows these things? When I was a child, my mother thought me divine, my father weak.
You bastard!
Which am I, Ephesian? Weak or divine?
The gods favor you, Cephalus. Great wealth.
And in that, when she said in the movie, when she said the gods favor you, that's true. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai was with Alexander to conquer the planet. And I'm going to read, in fact, I'm going to stop playing this clip now. I mean, there's more to it. I'm going to stop playing it. And the Lord was with Alexander to help him take the rulership of the world, to fulfill prophecy, man. All right? So the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai was with him. And Alexander the Creep, he knew who the Israelites were. He knew, in fact, he had Israelites in and amongst his army. He had so-called Negroes fighting for him. One of his main men, Cletus Melis, which they show you in the movie, he killed him in a fit of rage, and they showed him as a so-called white man, which he was a so-called black man, really. All right, but he knew about the Israelites. He knew these things, and there's historical accounts of him going to seers, basically to prophets, to find out what's gonna happen. Basically, that's how he knew he was gonna take everything swiftly. He was given visions, man. He went to seers. So the point what I wanted to get out of this is that they pretty much exalt him in this world. They exalt wicked men in this world. That's my point. And the earth is in total wickedness, but that's the reason why is because who's ruling? The nation of Edom, the lineage of the wicked is in authority, just like they were back during the time of the Greeks. It's the same people back here today. So I'm going to read this here. There's more in that clip, but you can, it just made me think basically that, wicked men are exalted in this world. But anyway, let me read this here. This is 1 Maccabees 1:7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then, I'll read from the top. I'll read from here and I'll jump down. And it happened, 1 Maccabees 1:1, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetem, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. All right. So Alexander basically unified Greece. He was the first major ruler that they had. But before him, his father, Philip the Macedonian, when you check out things on Philip the Macedonian, which it showed you him in the movie as well, that was played by Val Kilmer, But in Philip the Macedonian, he was conquering the tribes in and around him. So Alexander didn't just come into authority and then took power. No, he was the first to become a major ruler for the Edomites. But his father was doing a lot of groundwork before him. All right. So it says, who came out of the land of Chittim and had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead first over Greece. All right. That's talking about Alexander, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. And that's what he did, man. Just like today, fast forward to today, what did Columbus and Hernan Cortez and all these devils that went to the Americas when Esau came back into power, what did they do? They smitten the earth, man. All right, they went and first they enslaved our people, the Israelites, throughout Europe, throughout the Americas. And then what did they do? They went all over the world and subjugated all the nations, just like Alexander, right? It says, so they're the same people. It says, and won many wars and many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. All right, yeah, he was exalted. He was the first major ruler of the Edomites. That's why they exalt him till this day. Till this day, Alexander, they call him the Great, but we call him the Creep, because after Alexander, the Grecian kings, they did nothing but oppress our people. They oppressed so-called Negroes, Latino, in particular so-called Negroes in that time. But if you fast forward to today, these devils today, which are all the same people, these Edomites, what do? They oppress our people, man. They spread wickedness upon us, man. They spread wickedness on this earth. All right. They basically make it near enough impossible to live righteously on this earth, man. All right. And that's these devils today. All right. So it says, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Yeah, they had to pay him. To live under his authority, you had to pay him. He became tributaries. And that's what you do when you conquer nations. But you see, the Lord was with Alexander to do these things. All right, he let him take the earth swiftly, to fulfill biblical prophecy, because he's written in the word. All right, he's described as the leopard. All right, pretty much the Grecians, the leopard, pretty much, that took the earth swiftly. All right, and that goes into the statue of Daniel, with the basically, I believe it's the brass, basically the thighs of the brass, that was represented the Grecian Empire, which was what, pretty much Alexander coming in there, pretty much. I believe that's what it was. That's the one it is, basically, in the statue. All right, But, you know, he took the earth swiftly, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai was with him. And even, you know, there's accounts of chariots even helping him win these battles. That's why he got exalted. Really, he was exalted because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai wanted him to take the power, man. All right? To have that rulership for a period of time, to fulfill prophecy, man. Let Esau get up in there. Okay? So it says, and he gathered a mighty strongholds and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honourable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. And this is the points that I wanted to get. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. So he had a short reign, a quick and short reign, but it was pivotal for prophecy, all right? Because Esau, the so-called white man, had to get up in there, all right, to fulfill the prophecy of spreading wickedness on the planet. So it says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place. So his servants, you know, his subordinates, everyone carved up his kingdom, basically. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth, all right? And that's the point, that's the main point that I really wanted to get. Beginning with Alexander, what does the scripture say? They call him Alexander the Great in this world. And we've grown up in this bullshit society with these devils spewing their madness on us, exalting themselves over us, all right? Calling themselves great. And even on a low level, all these so-called white people, these so-called white men and women, they have that mentality. They think they're better than us. But the Lord's exposing all of that. He's exposing them for what they are. What did the scripture just say? And after it says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied on the earth. So according to the scriptures, Alexander was evil. Alexander and his people, their lineage of people are evil, man. And who's ruling the earth today? The evil, man, which is the so-called white man, the Edomites. All right, that's who's ruling, man. And it says the evil, so they call him the great. Why we call him the creep is because, you know, we know the history, man. We know what they did to our people. We know what they did to the planet. All right. The rest of these people in this world are bugged out and believe in this shit. But we know what it is. We know the evil, the wicked, the evil that's, you know, that's at the top, basically. All right. So this is I wanted to read this here. This is Habakkuk 1 from the top. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. O Lord, how long shall I cry and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. Why doest thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. The law is, and this is what's happening to us today, man. We cry unto the Lord because of the violence of this place, the injustice, man. All right? We want these devils out of the authority seat, man. Okay? And we cry unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Even when we're not speaking in our thoughts, we're crying to the Lord, man. Because it's injustices of these devils, man. And I'm pretty sure, you see, the Lord always had it where the men that had the right spirit, that believed in him, were always there throughout the ages. And that's even true even when Alexander was reigning. I'm sure, you know, we were crying unto, Lord willing, we were back there. We were crying unto the Lord then. Lord, why are you allowing this devil to have power over the planet, man? Look at the wickedness that's taking place, you know? But it's all for prophecy, okay? So it says, therefore the law is, why doest thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that rise up strife and contention. Therefore the law is slacked, and therefore judgment never goeth forth. For the wicked doth compass about and this is what I want to get. The wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Yeah, the law is slacked in his kingdom. Judgment never goes forth. There's never true judgment or true justice in this society, man. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Yeah, and the wicked have compassed us, man. These so-called white people, they've compassed us, man, in this society. You know, they surround us. They surround our people with evil, man. You know, and they spoil our people. They put evil into our people's communities, into our people's minds. So the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans have adopted their lifestyles, man. But this is their way of life. Then that began with Alexander, that was happening back then. So I just wanted to read this here. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment doeth never go forth. The law of what slack? The law of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. The law of the Lord is slack, man, in his kingdom. All right? And judgment doeth never go forth. For the righteous, for the wicked, Salakia, doeth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Yeah, so they compass us, man. And the wicked, these devils, are the ones calling the shots. For example, you go to Esau's court system, all right? And it's in Edomite that's judging you. And this devil, God knows what they do we know what they do behind the scenes. But they're the ones, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai knows, but they're the ones judging you when you go to court. But this dude's a real demon himself. This dude breaks every scripture, breaks every law in the Bible, but they're judging us. So that's an example of them compassing us, man. What did the scripture say about Alexander? When his men bear rule, the evil's multiplied on the earth, man. And that's what's happening today. Evil has multiplied on the earth, man. All right. And what did the Lord say? The Lord said, pretty much the earth was made to inhabit, to live well on it, man. But with these devils ruling pretty much, I'm roughly paraphrasing, the earth was made for us to enjoy it, man. But with these Edomites ruling, all they do is spread evil, man. Malachi 1 and 4. Wherefore Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. And that's these Edomites, man. All right. The Lord's going to bring them down. So they've built their kingdoms back up. All right. So they've had a lot of time to rule. They've ruled during the time of Alexander. They ruled. The Grecian Empire was emerged into the Roman Empire afterwards. So they ruled during the time of the Roman Empire. They went down for a bit and they've come back up now to rule, during, the conquest of what they say, the conquest of paradise, the 1400s up until now, or the late 1300s up until today. So Esau, these devils have had a lot of time to rule, man. All right. But the Lord said, whereas Edom says we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. And they've done that. They've built their empire again. America, Australia, Russia, wherever these so-called white people are, that's them, Edom, building up their kingdom again. All right. Build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. Yeah, they built all this up, but the Lord's getting ready to bring them down. All right. And the scripture says the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. And indignation is a righteous anger. So the Lord's angry against them forever. But he says that they're the border of wickedness. So wherever they dwell, wickedness happens. Just like with Alexander, when his men ruled, what did it say? Evil's multiplied. So wherever the so-called white man's dwelling on the earth, man, evil's multiplying, man. And the indigenous people of those lands are being oppressed. All right. Beginning with the Israelites. So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, who the Lord mainly cares about. That's his chosen people, who he only cares about. We're being oppressed. And when you go into these other lands, Australia, for example, you got Japhites over there, which are the indigenous people of those lands, being oppressed. By who? These Edomites. And a lot of them be Jake too, man. So our people are just being oppressed, man, by the border of wickedness. But guess what? There's going to be a judgment. There's going to be a judgment. So this is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. I'll read this here. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, it says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Yeah, exactly. But just because someone does wickedness and they haven't been judged instantly, the heart of the sons of men is meaning like the other nations, in particular the so-called white man, just because he hasn't been judged yet for his crimes, he continues to do wickedness. All right. Their mind is fully set in their mind. You know what? We're going to continue on with this evil that we're doing. All right. Though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Lord, which fear before him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow because he feareth not before the Lord. Exactly. So ultimately, when you do the wickedness, you go down, you be destroyed. Like Alexander, after his reign, he took the world swiftly. In 12 years, he took the world. But then what happened to him? The Lord didn't allow him to enjoy that fully. He killed him. He didn't let him live the rest of his lives out. He killed him to fulfill prophecy. You see? He killed him to fulfill prophecy. But he took him out to fulfill the prophecy, man. He didn't just let him live to the next 100 years just enjoying his spoils. No, he fulfilled what he had to do. He established the Edomites into rulership, then passed his kingdom on to his subordinates, which then they further spreaded more evil. But Alexander in the end the Lord took him out. Just like the international bankers today, in the end, what's their end? But it shall not be well with the wicked, which is these devils, these Edomites. Neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before the Lord. Exactly. Because they're the wicked, man, basically. And the evil that they've done is all going to be accounted for. They're going to be judged for it, man. So I'm going to play a bit more of this clip here. But I just found it interesting how they exalt they exalt wicked men in this society. You know, but the scripture says otherwise. And Alexander the Great, which they call him the Great, but we know him as the Creep. He's mentioned in the Bible, man. Alexander the Creep, man. He's mentioned in the 1 Maccabees 1 and 7. All right?
Power, conquest,
Today we write to our destiny.
all you desire. The world is yours. Take it.
We are here today as Macedonian free men. Conquer your fear, and I promise you, you'll conquer death. When they ask you why you fought so bravely, you will answer, I was here this day at Gaugamela for the freedom.
Say already, Philip is a great general,
And glory
but Alexander
of Greece!
is simply great.
Now! Right here, we cut the throat of the Persian army. And when bold Cassandra breaks,
That's it. They exalt this man like he was great, but he was really wicked, all right? Hence why we call him Alexander the Creep, you know? So, you know, Lord willing, may the Lord destroy these devils soon, man, and bring this kingdom down, man. You know, and bring righteousness to the earth, man. So with that, I'm going to say all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to the Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Shalom, shalom.